Hi guys and welcome to Inktober. It's officially started. This is actually the first piece that I did for the first day of Inktober, but I'm releasing this video on the second day. But I am so excited to get started on my project. I've been doing a lot of planning and prep work and sketching and thumbnailing in preparation for this, and it has gone a long way. So really what I want to talk about is the theme or the concept behind my Inktober project, my overall goal for it, and some of the individual art goals that I have for it. So there's a lot to talk about as far as Inktober. So there's going to be a lot of topics that are going to be upcoming in videos, but I think probably the first thing that I really do want to talk about is what the theme is that I'm working in. So I get a lot of questions as far as what prompt list I'm working off of, or if I am, and the answer is that I'm not. I like to come up with my own thing that I want to make with it, and this year I wanted to almost create a world within the Inktober project, and I wanted to break it into three different segments, and I want everything to feel very night themed. That's my goal. So each section has a title and a theme to it so that it gets farther into the nighttime, and I wanted characters and scenery that would feel like that. So yeah, I'm really excited about it because it's something that I find really inspiring, but also really hard to put into an actual real form, that feeling of nighttime. So hopefully I'll be able to figure out at least a little bit of some insight in that over working on this Inktober project. So that's what I'm going in with it, so that it has a feeling of cohesion, hopefully, and intention, and like all of the characters that I'm drawing, hopefully that they feel like they are part of the same world and you're just getting more information about it. And there's a few things that I'm going to implement throughout all of my pieces that hopefully will help tell that story, and I'll talk about that probably in future videos. But yes, that's the theme, that's the goal. And this year I am doing an Inktober book, just like the last 2 years. So if you were interested in that, I will be starting the Kickstarter probably 2/3-ish through the month. So I will absolutely let you guys know when it's arriving. But I feel really good about where I think this book is going to go, especially since I was able to do, like I said, almost all of the thumbnails and the sketches before Inktober started. So I know what I'm doing. I know what it's going to look like. And that has been a huge help, actually. So I think that's probably one of the things that I really learned from last year mostly, but also from the year before. And that was that I really want to do full, complete illustrations that are complex and more thought out, but combining the sketch and the full completion of inking it and everything in the same day was just not, it wasn't possible to be able to do it in a way that I was really happy with. So this year I made sure that I started early and I did all the sketches and got that ready. So now it's just time to ink it and get into making just the artwork, and it feels so good. Just even this first day I feel excited and ready to go, and compared to last year I was already feeling frazzled and stressed from the first day. So that was a big lesson that I think I finally tackled and figured out and actually did it, rather than just thinking about it and then it was too late because I procrastinated. Oh, and a side note, but I think that this year I want to call the book Nocturne. That at least is the working title, and it probably will be the final title too, unless a new idea comes to mind that I like better. But also, like I think I mentioned, each section of the nighttime that I will be breaking the illustrations into, that will also have a subtitle as well. So there's going to be a lot of nighttime words involved with this book, but yes, for now, it will be called Nocturne. Oh, and at the beginning of the video when I was inking and everything, I did not turn on my extra auxiliary light that I use to shine underneath my hand when I'm filming myself inking. And because of that, there's a giant shadow right where I'm drawing. So moving forward, they won't be this dark, and hopefully it'll be a lot clearer as far as me actually showing what I'm drawing. So hopefully this will be the worst of all of my Inktober videos filmed, and moving forward they're just gonna all be much clearer. But yeah, that was something that I learned last year, is that when I'm inking and I'm filming, my hand is hovering right above the paper, so I have to have a completely different camera setup and light setup too. But yes, I will do my best to make sure that hopefully everything is better moving forward. Let's talk about goals now. This is, I think, like that big secondary thing to Inktober, besides the ink, is the goals for me, is figuring out what do I actually want to focus on, what are the things I want to improve on. That's really a big part, I think, to all, it kind of goes without saying, but art challenges, especially these like month-long ones, is being able to focus on something, whatever it is for you personally, and then challenging yourself to get better at that. I always like to take a little bit of time before Inktober starts to think about the things that I really want to make sure that I'm implementing in each piece that I'm doing. So the first big one was that I did want to be more prepared. This kind of just feeds more into my other goals, where I wanted to be prepared so that I could focus better on my other goals. So the fact that I can wake up and I have the sketch ready, and a lot of them I've already transferred over onto my paper, I'm just ready to dive right in, which means I have more time to spend on the actual piece. And that's kind of my big goal. And this is going to sound kind of silly because it's totally counter to really what Inktober allows, but I want to slow down and take my time with my pieces a little bit more. I want to make sure that I'm being thoughtful with each brushstroke, with each line that I'm doing. I've gotten into a bit of a sloppy rut a little bit with my work, and it's not satisfying. And I want to be able to, when I sit down with this piece each day, I want to be able to put myself into a mindset where I want to be careful and really worry about the craftsmanship of the piece. I just don't want to be sloppy and rushed anymore. And I think a large part of it isn't actually the amount of time that I have to work on a piece. I know it's a good part of it, but it's not all of it. I think a good part of making sure that I'm careful with my pieces is a mindset going into it, a certain level of care, and I want to put that care back into my work. So that's one thing that I'm going to try to make sure is on the beginning of every piece, that I sit down and I hopefully prepare myself to just be careful and thoughtful. But it's also a really nice time to just take a minute, if you've done this in the past, that is, to look and compare with past years and see at the things that you've changed and improved on. I, in a lot of ways, have felt like I've stagnated in certain skills that I have, and I don't want that. I want to be able to push myself, and I want to get better at things. But I think one thing that, just diving into this on this very first piece already, I feel like I have a better control of getting these nice smooth washes with this ink than I did last year, probably all the way up till the end. And I think it's a big part too, is just being careful and thoughtful and slowing down my mental processes of thinking about it. So yeah, I think that already is helping, but it's very exciting at least to see this one thing that I feel like maybe I have gotten better at. I also, this is probably obvious to a lot of you guys, but and this is a really really silly detail, but I've always struggled with my white gel pen to add these highlights, because I always get these like railroad effects where it would have this hollowed out so that it was just like two lines, or it just wouldn't get nice and opaque. So it just frustrated me. I'd still use it, I tried to make it work, but I could never really get it to work. And I finally figured it out. I just need to give steady, consistent pressure and slow down. I went way slower on this, and I actually got a line that was opaque, and it turned out the way I wanted to. So that's already something that I'm like super excited about figuring out, because I want to be able to utilize it to really push back in highlights and add strands of hair or just a lot of different things like that. And now I feel like I should have figured that out a long time ago, but that's going to help a lot. Just being able to understand the tools better and handling it better is something that I think going into this year, I have a leg up from last year. And one more topic about Inktober that I wanted to talk about is the video schedule. So I will, of course, have a piece up every Saturday, but I'll also have an extra one up every week of October as well, probably up on Wednesdays. So I think Wednesdays and Saturdays are the days for Inktober videos here. If you'd like to see almost all of my videos for Inktobers, then you can go ahead over to my Patreon page. Anyone of any tier level will be able to see those, and I'll put almost all of them. The only ones that I won't are probably the really simple ones, which I have a couple of them sketched out. Those will probably just be photo montages of the process. And you can always make sure to follow me on Instagram, because I'll hopefully make sure that I remember, but every day I'll put up the piece that I did that day, so you can get just a still image of everything that I've done up to this point. So I'll make sure that there's a link in the description that'll bring you over to my Instagram to make sure that you follow me over there, as well as my Patreon. But that's it for day one of Inktober. I am so excited to get working on this project. I have a lot of plans for it, which is exciting. But yeah, that's about it. I will be back next week on Wednesday with another Inktober video. I have a list of all the tools that I use down in the description as well. And that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you then.